Alright everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we got ourselves the team and path guide for the Tournament of Power. Yes, I did say in a community post, if you go keep checking that, I'm obviously going to be posting updates and all there, but regardless, we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. Obviously it's going to be like tips and tricks, I'm obviously going to have timestamps down below, so we're going to get straight onto this here. So as we can see here, these are the paths that we are going to be using. Primarily, it's going to be the orange path that is the main usage, only because obviously orange is always to be the main path, but the yellow is just like an alternate version where you can branch off it if you want to and use that direction. I have looked through this board within about 10 minutes, but it's more than enough to get a gist of what the game is like, and to be fair, this board is actually quite very well balanced, to say the least. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some difficult fights. Now, the first one is obviously going to be the Super Warriors here that we have faced before, and we didn't kill them before, and that's only because we were running Regen. Obviously Regen is used for tanking and healing, not really for damage, let's just say at least. But then again, I ran a more defensive type compared to damage, but we'll disregard that. But as we can see here, the best way that I have done this here, and I have actually looked at their kits, so this should be some decency. So get rid of the TN first, then get rid of this Yamcha, then get rid of Yajirobe. Get rid of the Krillin, get rid of this Yamcha, and then this Piccolo. Now the Piccolo, you do not need to care about. Might be Super Warrior, but he does not buff them in any way, shape or form. He flashes you in the second turn, I believe. If you have a blast unit, go for him last. I definitely say go for him last because he's obviously going to get more buffed with every blast you hit him with. He actually, if you for some reason you have him like set to very late in the game, where I have him like somewhere in the middle as third, if his HP, if you don't kill him and he's below 50% by the start of the third turn, he's going to get 100% of the special move, meaning by that point you have to kill him. So it's best to either go for him at the beginning or leave him to the end, but probably go for the beginning. Then you get rid of this Krillin because he is a defense type, and he actually does gain some special move, meaning that he has a possibility of hitting you with the special move. The Yamcha is just damage, and then obviously Piccolo is just there, so that's why I still do it. I think, again, this is just me briefly looking at it and trying to understand as best I possibly could. So essentially, again, Tien, Yamcha, Yajirobe, Krillin, Yamcha, and Piccolo. That's the way you do it. We're going to move on to the next fight. Ah yes, this one right here. We got this one right here. Now I have highlighted this out because we have faced it against previous seasons. We've barely survived some seasons, but other seasons we mightn't have. So the way I say we do this here is, you get rid of this Gohan, then you get rid of Mai, and then you get rid of this Trunks. Now I need to double check it if it is Vegeta family or Vegeta character. Might just be Vegeta character. If it's Vegeta character, do not care about him for a while. Go for this one. But if it is Vegeta family, go for him, then this here. Yellow, and then just triple down the greens. Get rid of this Trunks, and then you get rid of this Vegeta. That's the way I normally would do it. But then again, there could be some better optimized ways. Like going for the Gohan, this Trunks right here, then this one. And then this one, and then this one. If this Trunks here has the special move after you kill a Vegeta and not Vegeta family, then obviously do that method. Yellow, green, green, blue, green, red. That's the way you would do that if it was for Vegeta and not Vegeta family. If it's Vegeta family, do my initial way, because he's going to get a special move. Alright, so yeah, this one here. We haven't seen this team in a long time, but it is a decently difficult team. By that I mean we got 2 debuffers, a universal cover change with no health restriction, and a death buffer. So how do you do this here? Obviously you get rid of Cross Arm Vegeta, as we now call him, because of his cover change he crosses arms and just absolutely blows you away. And again, as I said, his cover change is universal. He has no health restriction, making him very powerful. So you go for him first, then you get rid of this baby Vegeta, then you get rid of this Vegeta, and then you get rid of GT Vegeta afterwards, because these two are your debuffers, and he actually buffs people who are above him in a straight line, and himself. So you might as well get rid of him before the GT Vegeta. Next you go for Blue Evolution, then you go for Future Trunks LF, and then you obviously go for the death buff at the end, because obviously death buffs, they are the absolute hassle. So that's why you do that there. Alright, so now this one here, essentially literally the next fight after this here. I have picked this out because the one beside it is just going to be this here, which is just an absolute no-go, because you need to kill this Broly, and then you have to kill this Gohan immediately after, and it's definitely not the best thing to do. So obviously we're going to go up ahead and optimize with this here, and the way you do this here is you get rid of this Broly, then you get rid of this Cooler, and then this Cooler, then Chilled, Cooler, and then Frieza, or Frieza and Cooler, depending on what way you prefer it. To be fair, this Frieza, I don't say is like too tanky, considered as a free prestige, and he's 2 stars. Literally the majority of these characters are very low stars, so doesn't really matter too much. But if we do encounter another fight like this here, I don't think we will. I can't remember. That's the way you do it. Broly, the Coolers, Chilled, this Cooler, and then this Frieza. You can interchange between them, doesn't matter too much. Okay, so obviously this fight right here is like quite the common fight within the past like few boards, and the way you do this here is you get rid of this Vegeta and then this Gogeta. Now the thing is though, I have watched other people do this here fight, and by that I mean one person. You know who it is if you watched my videos for quite some time, and you obviously understand a couple things. But the only reason why I say go for the Vegeta before the Gogeta. Yes, Gogeta does stun you on turn 3 and gets a special move on that same turn. However, the Vegeta, the longer he stays on the fight, the longer he's still in the fight, he gets more and more powerful. That's the only reason. I'm not joking. Here is his kit right here. I'm flashing his kit right up now. This is what he does the longer he stays on the board. Obviously it's only going to be that part. Anything after that doesn't really matter too much. It's just only that important bit. Then obviously Gogeta is going to be next in your chopping block. Then you get rid of God Goku. He's going to stun you turn 1 regardless, so it doesn't matter too much. And then, again, if you have Blast Units, go for this Janemba last. Otherwise, go for the Janemba and then the EX Androids, no matter what way you have it. I prefer to do it the blue and the green in that particular order. But if you have Blast Unit, leave Janemba for last, because he's going to stun that character. So alright, we're moving on to the next fight, if there is another one. If not, it's just going to cut me mid-sentence. Alright, so you know, we got this here fight. I forgot. Female Warriors. Now obviously the way you do this here, it can vary depending on how your luck is in RNG, how well your luck is with this type of team, and obviously RNG within the actual game itself. But the general gist of it is you get rid of the tag droids first, then you get rid of Mai, then you get rid of 21, get off, then you get rid of Bulma, Urine, and then 18. However, the thing to keep in mind, Urine can actually hit. She can hit. So, if you want to, now this is only if you really want to obviously do these two first. Get rid of the tag and then get rid of Mai, because obviously the tag is going to swap out. And if you have no yellow unit, and they do swap out, you're a bit fucked. But yeah, no, get rid of them first, then you get rid of the Mai because she stuns you. This 21's a support, so obviously get rid of her. Then I'd definitely say get rid of Urine, 18 then Bulma, if Urine is quite the damage dealer for you. Otherwise, leave her and do my method, which is just do it. I don't know what those noises were, I just like to do that. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next fight. Figured out there's no fights, so obviously that would have cut me mid-sentence, I would have done that myself. But we're now going to have a look at the teams. So, I say we get straight into the teams. Obviously, number 1, we got ourselves the Sagas of the movies, because, you know, it was the OG team for the past, like, 6 seasons. Mental stuff. This team does go hard. Now, I have obviously got to flash up also a list I've made of every character you could possibly include. It is quite the long list. So obviously, if you don't have certain characters, you can obviously input them for substitutes. However, the baseline, the base team that you would really need to have in this here is obviously the Red Turles, the Cooler, and the Thouser, the Blue EX Cooler, the Thouser, and maybe the Bojack. Everyone else, you can kind of swap out. However, Tapion's utility is quite effective on the units because he gets rid of the special move gauge, and if someone can farm a special move gauge, yeah, they're done. But he's not right. I wouldn't say he's like a necessary edition. He does debuff the people, so he does debuff them. I forgot which one it was. Yeah, no, here. He can debuff them by negative 25%, essentially for the rest of the game. Minus the 4th turn. But again, that is a decent thing. Now, obviously, Zaha does heal. However, for this season, he is an A tier. That's the one thing I'll say, he is an A tier. He does heal buds by 1%, which is still good. And 10% damage per turn is still good. And it's for every turn, meaning you're at least restoring 4%, a bare minimum. Actually, a bare max. The least is fucking -4. Obviously, and then obviously this Goku I just have there because just why not? This team was initially going to have actually the Gokua. And I'm actually going to swap it out into the Saga from the movies to make it better just. Because as you can see here, Gokua isn't, again, in S here. Again, I have shown the list. It's the same thing with this purple cooler, who is actually somewhat decent. Again, the purple cooler, I've used him once. He did perform well. I'll say that much, he performs quite well. Obviously, if you want to have this Vegeta, go ahead. Because, again, his stats on Transform not really good. Transformed, a bit better, especially his blast damage. But then again, this team is quite strike based. If you really want to go for a strike based unit, I definitely maybe say go for the Trunks. Only because it's actually got some decent, that can rank up to about near 300,000. And this here, 2.67. But that's after transformation. That's on the first turn, which lasts 3 turns, which is pretty good. That is really good. And plus he gets even more key recovery. Which again, is really good. But then again, he's quite dependent on Vegeta Clan Hybrid or Super Saiyan. Which none of your team has. And again, he only buffs one thing. For 2 character categories. It's not really good. Because he was created, so was he, before Saga from the movies was actually a good tag. I've rambled on too long, haven't I? Okay, so yeah, no. Gonna have a look at that 8 here, as we can see here, obviously, this Goku. And if I take it off, the Zaha. As we can see right here. Now, a good substitute if you really wanted to. This Great Sim 1 2, again, he is quite the good unit. They are quite the good unit, Great Sim 1 2. Quite the interesting unit, to say the least. And if there's probably some more, but I mean, some of them are good, some of them are not bad. Like the Slug is decent enough. This Vegeta, I don't even know. This Janemba is a wee bit okay. Bojack, that's actually a really good substitute if you don't have this Bojack. Actually a really good substitute. This Green Frieza, obviously. But other than that, that's all really the main thing for Saga from the movies. We're going to move on to the next tag, which is obviously going to be... So obviously, next we got on the chopping block is going to be Super Warriors. Now, there is another character you can use on this team, and if we dip down to ZTS here, obviously this Yellow Piccolo. But, we have established this before. He isn't good. And again, I'll get into that more whenever we get on to another team. But this is like more or less the baseline team you'd use, because there isn't really anyone else you can use for this team. As it's quite limited. There's like nobody there. Dip down to C tier just for a laugh. Shallot's here. But none of these characters are going to give you anything. Plus, even if we go to Shallot, I mean, after transforming into Super Saiyan 3, it's not really too good. His stats aren't too good. I mean, even after this here, even this here isn't like too good. Like 30% is bollocks. Oh, 3% healing is not too bad. It is not too bad. His Z ability is a bit shit, but I mean, other than that, if you really wanted to dip into someone to get somebody, definitely would say definitely the Tien or Roshi or maybe Piccolo if you're feeling lucky. But other than that, I wouldn't suggest anyone else. This is more or less the baseline thing. Nothing too much to explain. We're going to move on to the next one. This is going to be the team of Sun Family. Now, I have actually got another substitute. If you really wanted to, I mean you seriously wanted to, you dip down to A tier, we have ourselves set the Saiyan, and we got ourselves this tag Goku and Frieza. Now, if we have a look here, he's rank 1, obviously wouldn't be too good. Obviously this here thing will boost up to about like 2.5, and then this here will be about near 2.9 at absolute most. But if we have, and obviously this here actually does help. Now, oh wait, no, they're unusable. Heavy attacks aren't usable in PvP, but these do help. These do help. If you have this character, If you have characters that are arts boosted, use them definitely. I forgot to actually mention that because I never actually checked here. But if we go to here, he does really well because he gets an extra 30% of key recovery, obviously negating the key recovery. Probably could have included this here in the new character thing that I was gonna do like 10 years later, but I mean, you know, we can do it out here now, why not? Obviously, he restores health for every strike attack you do, which is insane. And if you activate the special move, he cancels attribute downgrades and conditions. It's just some mental stuff. And if we see here, 30%, not too good. I wouldn't say it's too good, but that's a weird line to be drawn there. Obviously, he gets some extra stuff here, and 20%, that's just brilliant. Obviously, before receiving any of these here against unfavorable elements. Again, it's some mental stuff. He's essentially a blue card generator. And even better, I mean, he only boosts Saiyans, but the majority of some family, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 Saiyans essentially. The other 4 are hybrid. And if you were going to take him off, it would definitely be for like this Gohan. And again, the majority of this team is literally Saiyans, so it's a decent spot to be putting him in. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Obviously, we're going to get into detail a bit more later, but that's just more or less that. So moving on to the final, like, main team way of doing this here. And obviously, for, like, the final main team, we got ourselves Regen. Obviously, this is the way we're going to be doing this right here. Now, there is nobody in Z tier. Nobody in Z tier is good. I'll say that much. This Masu used to be runnable, but yeah, one says so. This here is also dog shit. It's only green and God Key. He's not God Key. There's no God Key or green. And his key restore speed is dog shit. He's an extreme unit, but still. Obviously, if we dip down the S tier, we actually start getting some good units, like these main 4. These are the main 4 dudes. He's the damage dealer. He is able to heal himself. He's a damage dealer. He's a debuffer. Easy enough to explain. Also, I actually got him the 14 stars, which is pretty neato. Essentially, everybody but this Piccolo and this baby are 14 stars. It's mental. Obviously, we dip down to A tier. We got ourselves some decent competition here for who to run. Obviously, you got ourselves the Piccolo and the Kamekalo. Another, like, if you want some substitutes, definitely this DKP is a good option. This Evil Boo's a good option, so he is. This baby, if you really want to run him, he does not boost regen, but he does inflict some blast damage mitigation at the start of turn, which is good. And obviously, he gets extra buff to Saiyans. And I mean, his Q restore speed is quite high, so yeah, he is decent fit. This Piccolo actually might be pretty good because the less enemies there are. Actually, that's a bit rubbish there. Yeah, no, I don't want to say run him. Yeah, no. Once I run him, his key restore speed shit. Never mind. Okay, I thought he was a good unit. Never mind. Again, this Evil Boo, I did say he is a good unit. He is a decent enough unit. He gives you poison. He debuffs essentially most of the board. And if you hit the special move, they can attack for a turn, which is insane. It is good. It is good. He does boost bats attack, and he does boost blue regen, which, to be fair, we have it for them. I don't think we need it anymore, but again, if you really want to replace somebody, it's definitely a good unit. Obviously, the Slug's a good unit, this Piccolo might be a good unit, and that's more or less here for A tier. We go dip down to B tier. Obviously, we got ourselves the Android 21 trio. We got ourselves Cell. This Piccolo is actually could be a good option to use if you don't have, like, I don't know, let's just say this Piccolo or this Nail or this Cell. Even though you should have the Cell, or this Cell, or this Cell. Definitely keep the Kamekalo, the Boo and Baby. Those are your 3 main characters that you really want to, because these 2 farm blue cards like mad, and he's a healer. That's all I'll say. But if you don't have any of the 5 aforementioned, this Piccolo is definitely a good spot. These 21's definitely decent, and this Geneva's really good. I didn't want to put them on because, I mean, there was obviously some better contenders, but you could put them on if you really wanted to, if you don't want the Nail, if you don't have them. And obviously C tier, we need a healer, to which these 2 boys are here. Can't do much about that, but we're going to have to deal with that. That's not what we have to live with. And obviously we got ourselves one more team, which is a bit of a surprise to me, to say the least. We'll get into it. Okay, so we got ourselves actually Universe Survival Saga. or rival universe or universe rep to the point where literally all the exact same tag, essentially. But you know, we got that team. As we can see here, it's, to say at least, slightly interesting. Obviously, there could be some better units instead of this cocoon set. You probably put on, like, I don't know, Ribrianne, Rosie, Ribrianne, green cocoon set, Rosie. Essentially, that it for Z tier. If you want to go down to S tier, obviously you could probably pick up one of the Wolves or Kaba if you have him in Zenkai 7, because, I mean, to be fair, he actually is somewhat decent if you throw him up. 20% to rival universe in range, it's pretty good. And then this here restores its health, which is, again, really good. And the Z ability buffs it, more or less universe 6, but, I mean, there is one green. There's one universe 6. Regardless, doesn't matter about his Z ability, it's his support that he gives. It's pretty good. And obviously, this Kale, you need her. If you're going to be running a team like this here, you need her. Obviously, then we go down to A tier, get ourselves Dispo, and actually Topo and Jiren. Obviously, I actually decided to go ahead with this Champa. Let's just say you don't have any of the new units. Let's say you don't have a Kawaii or Casserole. This Champa is actually really good. His stats, a bit lackluster, because key resource speed is a bit shit. But his blast damage isn't half bad. But if we go to here, he gets it negative 25%. An extra to damage received. He gets an extra bit of blast damage and key recovery, which is pretty good. And he actually can inflict the enemy with can't attack, which is, again, good. As a good thing, he can stun you, which is good. And if we go to here, 35%. 35 to both offenses is brilliant. That's the only reason why I actually have him here. And obviously, if we go over to this Jiren, I mean, if there's God here, some fam, they're dead. They're dead. He restores 5% on turn 2, which is mental. And obviously, he gives massive defenses. We go to here. Here's sort of speed. Bit useless. But we can buff these, but for an EX unit, these stats are actually really good. Said that much, they're really good. But other than that, there's actually now a final team to where I actually want a half showcase as well. Obviously, I'll get that up in a wee second. See, we got ourselves this team. Now, the thing is, though, I just wanted to fill up the slots. However, I'll obviously flash up the actual team the way I was wanted to. If you, for some reason, have all the new units, run them. They're all A tier, just for a laugh. They were A tier last year. Just for a laugh. Run them. Like, no, seriously, run them for a laugh. But actually, if you, for some reason, can do all the 8 units, all the new 8 new units. Obviously, I'll get into detail about them in a wee bit, but if you can, do that just for a laugh and let me know if you somehow manage can do that. Otherwise, this is also a decent enough team. And to be fair, the Vegeta might be better in PvP, but this Gohan is so much better in TOP. And we'll get into that in a wee bit. But that's more or less all the teams there. Obviously, again, I'm going to get into the new characters, and there is quite a lot, so we're going to have to quickly go through it, considering this is going on long enough as it is. Okay, so up first, we got ourselves the Gohan. Now, if we go over to TOP, key resource speed, useless. Strike damage, decent enough. They got to be bumped up to about 267 at best. Go over to here, it just does that. This here gives a 90 to key recovery, although not 90%, but that's just too broken. But again, if this character is defeated, every time this character defeats an enemy, which it can be, it's very restricted, but it can happen. 2% twice, 100% a special move. That is good. And on this here, 15%, not too bad. Go over to here, 6% or lower, which is honestly pretty high. He does all this here. It's actually not half bad. I'll say that much. Obviously, this here gives strike, attack, and defense, universe rep, exclusive and hybrid. Again, this Gohan does look good. He does look good compared to his normal stats. So yeah, there's Gohan. Nothing too much really. We'll move on to the next character, which is going to be this Vegeta right here. Again, why do I say the Vegeta is terrible compared to the Gohan? Obviously, if you look at the stats here, Gohan's stats are actually quite a lot higher. His key resource speed, I think, is roughly the same, but his stats on offensive capabilities and defensively is so much higher. Obviously, this here does nothing too much here. And we go over to here, 40%. That's not good. 80% the key recovery. That's not good. Reduced damage. That's not good, 10%. Although he is getting like 80% altogether for blast attack. That's not really good. He gets an extra, that's 100% on turn 2 for 1 turn. 1 turn, that's not good. That isn't good. Obviously, key recovery an extra 10, that's not really good. On blast arts, he does heal himself by 1. I'll say that much, that's not half bad. That's not half bad. This here is very subjective though. Like, when are you going to use that? You're going to get debuff regardless if there's a massive debuff for like Nappa, let's just say, but I don't think he does, he's only like support and defense. But regardless, that doesn't really do too much. Also, I've read that wrong, so I have, but it doesn't matter. This like second half of his second ability is decent. And by that I mean the blast attack. That's the only good thing. The Gohan actually has some form of utility, although I wouldn't say it's any much better than Vegeta. It is slightly better, considering his first one is quite lackluster. It's very blast oriented, whenever his stats show otherwise. But we're going to move on to the next character. Obviously you're going to have the Kawaii, Kiowe. We switch over to TOP. She is primarily strike based. With decent key recovery, you could probably bump that up to about 2.5, which is not bad. Got this here to ultimate and special, not too much there. Now we go over here. Her Z ability at 7 stars, quite good actually. It's quite good. She's quite defensive there, which is pretty good. And it gives extra to Universe Rep, which is brilliant. Obviously we go over here, 10% key recovery. That can boost it up to about near 2,700 by that point. Second turn is actually quite insane. Allies health by 1% is essentially a Zaha type thing, except for only for 1 turn. 20%, she can farm a special move. So essentially you can more or less expect it by about the 5th match, which honestly is actually somewhat impressive, I think. Or maybe the 4th match if you're feeling very lucky. And obviously extra 15% to strike damage for allies, which is again really good. That is quite good. Obviously if we go to here, strike, I mean that's fair enough, obviously she does do strike, but health 30%. Why is it all these characters that are good 30%? I don't get it. It's weird. Strike attack, heavy bleed is pretty good. Receiving attack 5%, yeah no, essentially a 4th fight you're probably expecting her to fire off a special move. This is insane. 20%, to be fair, she is quite good. She's quite good. For support type, she is good. I'll say that much, she is good. Not the best, but good. We're going to move on to the next character, that being Casserole, obviously. Now we go over to here, TOP. He's not 7 stars, so obviously I can't really say too much about him. However, a lot lower than Kiowe. I don't know how to pronounce her name anymore. And compared to her strike attack, it's a lot higher. I'll say that much, it's a lot higher. Moving here, it's nothing too much here, but here, obviously, we get ourselves an extra 80 key recovery, an extra 10 for every strike arts hits, -5 for that. I mean, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I'll say that much, it's not too bad. Not the best, but not too bad. This here, red, purple, universe rep, strike attack, blast defense, and that's honestly pretty good as well. Go over to here, strike attack, and he actually, wow, that's actually quite a lot there. That's quite a lot. 20% own strike attack. That's actually not too bad. That's really good actually. Second turn restores on health by 2%. He can heal about 3% if he puts the Kawaii on. Cancels on attributes, downgrades, and abnormals. That's pretty good. 15%. That's really good. And to be fair, he actually does. That's actually not too bad. Although that's only for 1 turn again. Compared to, I mean, again, it's the same thing with the Kawaii. It's 1 turn only for like some extra damage and healings. I mean, that's okay. That's not good. It's okay. They're okay units. I'll say that much. But other than that, we're going to move on to the next one. Obviously, we got ourselves a Jiren. I don't have him because obviously I got shafted for him. But if we go over to here, go to his TOP stats, key recovery is the worst out of everybody. The EX probably have higher key reserve speed. Obviously, let's just say we boost him up to 7 stars. After transformation, it's still shit. This is actually not too bad. I'll say about his defenses are actually phenomenal there. Obviously, strike there, nothing too much there. Let's have a look, see here. God Key, 20% damage instantly, that's brilliant. 50%, I mean, that's not too good. Per enemy? How's that mean? I don't get it. So what, if there's like 6 enemies, he gets like 30%. If there's 5, he gets 25, 4, 20, etc. I don't know. It's weird. Second turn restores health by 2%. Jira's not looking too good. I'll say that much. Jira's not looking all that good. He's not looking all that hot. But, I mean, that's unrestricted. That's pretty good. But then again, that's just like a counter normal thing. 30%, that's actually not too bad. After receiving attack, well, really? I mean, compared to the other two, he's shit. I'll say that much, he's shit compared to the other two. It's just not good. The only thing good about him is this 30% special move gauge. That's the only good thing. Anything else here isn't too good. The God Key, maybe, that's fair enough. But other than that and the 30%, he's shit. He's just shit. The only thing good about him is stats, and obviously I guess probably see why they held off on him. If you for some reason have him 14 stars, I can see why they kind of held off on him. I'll say that much, but yeah, no, still not good. Other than that, well, we're gonna move on to the next character. I'm gonna quickly hurry up now. Obviously got ourselves Champa, melee type. Let's switch over to here. Key restore speed higher than Jin's already. It's pretty good. Let's just max him out. Strike attack quite good, and defense is quite good for an EX character. 14 stars is pretty good. Alright, let's see here. Moving on. Let's see. Extra strike attack for turns. That's actually not too bad. Nice key recovery. It's okay. 30% special move gauge charge rate. Again, I don't know what that means, but it seems good. I mean, that's okay enough. That's okay enough. See, ability is actually quite good at 14 stars. That's pretty good. I mean, he's okay. I'll say that much. For an EX character, he's there. He's okay. He's decent enough. Alright, so for the final one, we got ourselves Vados. Key recovery already phenomenal compared to the other two. Stats, Blast is obviously the best. For some reason, Champa's defenses are 10 times better than hers. I don't know why, but it is. Wait, what? Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, looked at the wrong thing there for a minute, but yeah, no, more or less kind of the same thing there. Again, this is everything boosted up, so she's jacked. Okay, so let's have a look at this here. Obviously, she's defense, not gonna have too much here. Let's say on strike or blast attack, that's actually not too bad. That's just there. I don't know for how long, but it is just there. I mean, out of the two of them, definitely would say, to be fair, the ability's not too bad. It's pretty good. I definitely say Champa might be slightly better, but that's just me. Because this here, again, so these units aren't, I wouldn't say, like, phenomenal. I'd say they're not phenomenal. The Goku and Vegeta, the Kawaii and the Casserole, out of all of them, is probably the best three. Obviously because the Goku and Frieza LF, and the other two, 1% Sparkins, and they're actually somewhat supportive. Compared to Jiren, who is dog shit. I said that much. But yeah, no, hope you did enjoy that. If you did find this informative, let me know that in the comment section below, and also by giving me a like and a subscribe, because why not? And I'll see you all in the TOP video. See you all then.